What's going on, y'all? We are back with the Premier League predictions. This is for, I believe, let's see here, week 9. I don't, is it week 9? I believe it is. But 8 games have been played. Everybody's going to be going into their 9th game. Let me go on my channel real quick and see what the last video was. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. Yeah. There will obviously international break just wrapped up. Some of our players ended up going in there for Arsenal and having a good international break. And then obviously, if you're on my channel for the NFL content as well, I did not have a video up. It's been a real busy time. Haven't really been able to make as much content as I would hope. But hopefully we'll get that started back up. I just dropped my controller, so that's nice. But yeah, so we are back here today with videos, and we're gonna be busting out both videos. This one will be uploaded on tonight, on Friday night. So you'll probably see this either real early Saturday or on Friday night, because it's about 9 o'clock, and some of the games start here in about 7-ish hours. First one is Liverpool versus Everton, starting us back off. Let's just go into the table real quick. Liverpool sits 4th with 17 points, and Everton sits 16th with 7 points. But yeah, you look at this this game. Sorry if you can hear the people outside. I live in an apartment complex, so that just unfortunately is part of it. But Everton, somebody that they're just trying to piece together some points here and there and just keep out of that relegation spot. And Liverpool, obviously, they're competing for top 4. They're competing for Champions League. And you look at the predicted lineups here, it pretty much just favors Liverpool all the way. All the big names you would expect there for Liverpool. Then against Everton, pretty much 2 pretty healthy teams. Liverpool does have Robertson and Gakpo down. Jones is injured or is suspended for the match, and Thiago is also out, I believe, with a hip injury. But they do still have a lot of their top talents. So I think Liverpool will be fine. I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for Liverpool. Then we got Bournemouth versus Wolves. 2 teams. We look at the table here real quickly. They are sitting 14th and 19th. 14th is Wolves, 19th is Bournemouth. Bournemouth has not looked good by any stretch of the imagination. Wolves, they picked up a couple interesting pickups. They did beat Man City. They did draw against Villa. 2 things I didn't really think they would do. But we'll see what ends up happening with Wolverhampton Wanderers. But I think they should beat Bournemouth. I think they should beat Bournemouth. I'm going to go with a victory for Wolves. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory. I think there's going to be a lot of 2s this week when it comes to goal scoring. Then we get Brentford versus Burnley. Brentford sitting 15th, Burnley sitting 18th. Brentford, I'm going to be honest, I thought they'd have a little bit better of a start than they have had. But this is a key opportunity here. Burnley hasn't looked good. Burnley, last time out, lost 1-4 to Chelsea. Obviously, they did pick up the win against Luton Town. But I think Brentford, this is your chance. Really lay it on Burnley. I say 3-0. Brentford needs a big result here to get a little bit up further in the rankings. Then you get Man City versus Brighton. I think, obviously, you look at Man City's last 2 games last 2 games in the Premier League, because they did have a Champions League match against Leipzig, and they did win that one. They lost by 1 goal to Wolves. They lost by 1 goal to Arsenal. I think this week is going to be a really big week for Man City. They have to have a big bounce back. They're fighting for the top of the league. Brighton, a team that's also kind of in the scrap. It's sitting there 6th. It has 16 points. The winner, pretty much, I imagine, will go to that either 4th or 3rd spot. I'm going to be honest. It depends on Liverpool's result, but the winner should be around that 3 to 5 range-ish. I guess Villa could still technically be ahead of Brighton, but this will flip the table a little bit. Basically, if Brighton beats Man City, they'll be ahead of Man City now. Or if Man City wins, they have a chance to potentially be back at the top of the Premier League with Tottenham and Arsenal getting either draws or if they were to lose. But very big game for Man City. I think they gotta come. They gotta come guns a-blazing. I think they gotta do it. Man City, I don't like saying it. I think this is a big game for them. 4-1 Man City making a statement after two losses that probably should not have been the way they've been. Arsenal, late game, kind of an own goal situation. They gave it to Gabriel Martinelli. I'm going to count it as Gabriel Martinelli because I'm an Arsenal fan, but hits the face of Ake, ends up getting into the goal. Unlucky. Wolves, not a team you should be losing to. I mean, Man City, it's a bounce back week here. Next, we got Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. I think this will be a decent game. Crystal Palace and Newcastle both said 8 and 9. Basically, the winner of this will jump the other one, but they're still fighting in that higher mid-table range. For Newcastle, they're one win away from being tied point-wise with fifth. Crystal Palace, they would only be able to jump up to seventh because Brighton is at 6 with 16. But I think this is a very, very crucial game for both these teams. Newcastle, a team that I think has Champions League aspirations yet again, obviously being in the Champions League this year. Big win over PSG. Then they drew with West Ham, but this is not a team you can draw with. I think you got to go in, handle business against Crystal Palace. I'm going to say Newcastle wins 2-1. Nottingham Forest versus Luton Town. Luton Town sitting 17th, one spot out of relegation with 4 points, and Nottingham Forest sitting up at 13th with 9 points. Like I said, similar situation to who was it that played Burnley this week? Brentford. Similar situation. You got to come in. You got to get your points. Luton's a team you should beat. You need a big result. You need to push yourselves further up the table and really give. I don't think Nottingham Forest is going to make any crazy like top 6 run or anything, but I think Nottingham Forest goal should be to finish around that like 9 to 11 range. Obviously, weren't that last year, but I think a realistic goal is for them to try to get some of these victories against these lesser teams and hopefully push themselves up the table just a little bit. So Nottingham Forest, I do think could win this. I'm gonna actually go Nottingham Forest winning that one 3-1. I do think Luton Town will get a goal. Then we get Chelsea versus Arsenal, the London Derby. I'm excited. We got my Arsenal versus the $1 billion Chelsea team. They got everybody. You look at Chelsea. They got literally everybody you could wish for. They got Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Silva, Colwell, Cucurella, Caicedo, who we almost got. They got Enzo Fernandez. They got Cole Palmer, Man City talent. They got Gallagher. They got Sterling. I'm slightly concerned about Sterling. And then obviously in the offseason, they did pick up Nicholas Jackson. But on our side, you know all the big names. You know Bakayo's probably going to be good to go. He obviously was injured, but I think he will be good to go for this game. I don't see why he wouldn't be. We had a decently long break. They were talking about him potentially being in that Man City lineup. They didn't put him in that Man City lineup, and we won. I don't think it's necessarily crucial that Saka's in this matchup, but I think he will be. Gabriel Jesus, absolutely great performances the last few games he's been there. Gabriel Martinelli, obviously the decider against Man City. Should see about Declan Rice. Probably going to see Martin Odegaard. I'm going to assume they think it's going to be Jorginho. I actually don't think Jorginho will be in the starting lineup. I think it will probably be Kai Havertz. And then you got the back four, probably very realistic here with Zinchenko, Gabriel, William Saliba, and Ben White. And then probably going to be David Raya in goal. So I think this is going to be a big game. Obviously, London Derby. Last time we played a big team in Man City. We won. This time we're playing a big team in Chelsea, and we're playing them away, but I think we can win. We have yet to lose a game in the Premier League this season. We got to go on the road and get a crucial victory. I'm going to go with an Arsenal 2-1 victory on the road against Chelsea. You got Sheffield United versus Man United. Once again, situation where a team needs to perform this week. Sheffield, bottom of the table, 1 point all season, one measly draw. Man United sitting 10th, not where they want to be. Big game here. If you're Man United, you gotta win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Man United needs to come in here and do their thing. Do they win by a lot? I don't know. I'm going to go 3-0. Then we get to the Sunday game. It is West Ham and Aston Villa. And these teams are two teams that are 5th and 7th, respectively. West Ham, obviously, we're off to a real hot start. Cooled down a little bit recently. Not necessarily the worst of things. They had the Liverpool game, and obviously they did beat Sheffield United, but they did get a draw against Newcastle. I think this is a game that smells like a draw. Aston Villa, another team, kind of around what we expected out of them, sitting in 5th right now, sitting 16 points. It's going to be a good game. I think it's going to ultimately be a draw. I'm going to go 1-1. And then we got the last game of the week. We got Tottenham going up against Fulham. And this game is the Monday afternoon game, I guess, for me. It is at noon. And Tottenham sitting number 1 on the table. So Arsenal, Man City, maybe even Liverpool if they win by enough, all have a chance to be on the top of the table for one day only. But it will all rely on what Tottenham does to Fulham, who will ultimately be top of the table after this week. Tottenham's got the last game of the week, so they could still maintain their top of the table. They should maintain it. Fulham is a team they're better than. I'm going 3-1 Tottenham, and they got to win that game. I wouldn't like to see them win because I want to see Arsenal at the top of the league, but maybe Arsenal's mojo is to be second because last year we were first for so long. Maybe we need to be second and be the ones to overtake. I don't know, but thank you for watching. I will see y'all next time. Yeah, a big game tomorrow for at least us Arsenal fans.